Now we know we're still in the cruising season, but I've never seen the canals this busy. And yeah, the storm must be approaching because the winds are just starting to pick up a little bit now. I think we've just gained another puppy. Having spent a couple of nights at the aqueduct in Nantwich, we're now moving on. We've found out that Gary on ChugaPups is in Middlewich, which is only a 2-day cruise from here. And it would be rude not to go and meet up with him. So that's our plan for today, get as far as we can towards Middlewich, and then tomorrow get into Middlewich before the storm arrives. So hopefully we can meet up with Gary, Nicky and the kids and get to meet those lovely little puppies of theirs. I can't wait to see them. So enjoy the cruise this morning, folks. When you come down the Hurlston flight, you don't actually get to see the sheer scale of the reservoir at the bottom here. But this embankment that's running along the side of us is all the reservoir. It's a huge piece of water that goes on, it must be at least a mile square. So a mile each side, massive. And to think that all of that is fed from the Llangollen Canal and also helps to feed the Shropshire Union here, which in turn feeds the Middlewich branch and the Trent Mersey. It's not surprising it's such a big reservoir. The water treatment plant in the corner there. Looks like they've knocked loads of trees down and cleared around the building. So I don't remember it being that open in the past. We know we're still in the cruising season, but I've never seen the canals this busy. Everywhere you go now where there's moorings, there's loads of boats now. I know this is a popular spot. This is a boat we know very well.
Where is he?
It's Malcolm's boat. I don't think he's on board, but because the boat's all shut up. But that's his boat. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but the bushes round here are absolutely laden with red berries. In fact, there's that many, the trees are starting to look red. And just look at that. So many berries on it, you can't see the leaves. So, is that an indication perhaps we're going to have a really cold winter? And nature's larder is stocked up with wildlife, perhaps. We made good time to Chumston Lock, and we're taking the opportunity now to top up with water as the water tap was free, and then we'll be on our way again. And sod's law, when we don't want a mooring, the moorings are all empty. It's weird, isn't it? When we want moorings, they're chocker. we're in Chumston Lock eventually, as you can see by the bow camera there. We had a couple of characters on a boat in the lock, and he was quite excitable, the young lad, but we got them through eventually. These two locks, this one, Chumston, and the next one, Minchell, might be the two busiest locks on the network, but they fill and empty very quickly, so despite the queues of boats, it's not that too bad, to be honest. We're back at Minchell Lock. This is the one with the pretty garden that I forgot to video. If I remember this time, I'll try and video it. But you may remember we came through this way a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks back. And the reason we're doing this is we've heard and spoken to Gary, who's now at Middlewich. So we're cranking it down to Middlewich on the Middlewich branch here. We're hopefully going to meet up with them tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. We haven't seen Gary and Nicky since Crick last year, so it'll be really nice to meet up with them, and I'm dying to meet up with their puppies. And so that's why we're cranking along, that's why we're doing this spot again, and that's why you're seeing it all again. So, but I mentioned earlier about the berries on the bushes. Just look at them, absolutely laden with them. Thousands and thousands upon thousands of berries. An absolute smorgasbord for a feast for the birds and the squirrels, because they like them too. And yeah, the storm must be approaching, because the winds are just starting to pick up a little bit now. So there you go. Now, we're both a little bit nervous about this lock, because if you recall the last trip when we came up to Anderton, this was the lock that we got trapped in, and they couldn't get the right hand starboard gate open. So fingers crossed today there's not a problem. Two boats have gone through ahead of us, so it should be alright, but one can't help but worry. Well, Chris is going to try the gate. Fingers crossed it opens. Well, that's a relief. She's managed to get the gate open, so we're okay. Good news, both the lock gates have opened, and we can make our way out of the chamber. And this is, we've got one more lock to do, which is Stanthorpe, and then we'll start looking for a mooring for the night. Well, too good to be true, I suppose. The rain has finally caught up with us. At the moment, it's that very fine light rain. It's not too heavy, just the odd spots, but it doesn't look good behind us. The clouds are gathering. The storm is slowly getting closer and closer, I think. We may miss it by the time we get moored up, hopefully, but I don't think we're going to get moored up without getting wet. So we'll see how we get on. We are just approaching Church Minchell moorings, or we're not far from Church Minchell moorings, so we're making good time. We're not doing too bad at all. We've just had a downpour of rain, but thankfully the sun's come out now. The rain stopped, and it's quite pleasant now with the sun out. How long for remains to be seen, because back that away doesn't look good. Now this one is going to be interesting, because this is actually the lock that we got stuck in last time. They couldn't open the gate, but the boat's just come up, so assumably the gates are working okay. But we shall see. Well, they just attempted to open the gates and couldn't get them open. So, fingers crossed. Yep, there we go. They're opening the gates. The right hand gate was the one that wouldn't open, and that's opening, so phew, that's a relief. Well, after a 6-hour cruise, leaving at just after 9:15 in the morning, it's now 3:15, we've made it into Middlewich, which, if you pardon the pun, was a bit of a surprise, because normally Middlewich this time of day is rammed with boats, but we've managed to find this spot, which is only a couple of bridges away from Wardle Lock. So we're going to be here now for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get to meet Team Chugs, because they're moored around by Big Lock, and that's only a 15-20 minute walk from here, so hopefully we'll get to see them before they head off south. Oh, I think we've just gained another puppy. Guess who we're with?
You can have 3 if
you can recognise this little puppy.
You can have 3.
And that gives the game away. Here's Bandit. And Gary is with Biscuit.
Who's that?
Who's that then?
Who's that? That's your new daddy.
Yeah.
Is that your new daddy?
There you
You're
go.
going to live with Smudge.
So we've come to visit Gary and Nicky. And we've been invited to see the puppies, the ChugaPups.
ChugaPups in the ChugaBuggy.
In the ChugaBuggy.
ChugaBuggy.
Yeah, there you go, look at them, they're so sweet. After a very pleasant couple of days here in Middlewich, it's time to move on. While we were here, we managed to catch up with Gary, Captain Phillips, Nicky and the kids, and got to meet their gorgeous little ChugaPups, which was very difficult to give them back, to be fair. But yeah, it's a glorious morning, sun's shining, not a cloud in the sky yet. So we're going to go down Wardle Lock, wind, and then come straight back up again, and then make our way back along the Middlewich branch. Well, as is the norm on the Middlewich branch, we've joined the queue for the locks. 3 boats have gone down ahead of us. One is in the lock, or just leaving the lock by the look of it. And the one ahead of us is waiting to go down as well. Then it's our turn. So that's nothing unusual on the Middlewich branch. It's a very busy section of canal, but all 3 turned up just as we were getting ready to move on. So we took our time, we didn't rush getting the boat ready, and now we're just sitting tight waiting. I'm hovering in the bridge hole because the bank has collapsed on the port side, left side, and there's only really room for 1 boat on the lock landing now, so I'm just hovering in the bridge hole and waiting my turn. But what an absolute glorious morning. It's even starting to feel warm as well. Absolutely gorgeous. Chris has just found out that the couple on the boat just going in the lock at the moment are subscribers of ours, and they watch all our vlogs, so thank you very much guys for subscribing, we appreciate that, most appreciated. Our turn in the lock now. We've got a boat waiting behind us, and I've got a wind at the bottom, so I think the plan is, because it's windy, I'm going to wind, and Chris and the lady are going to turn the lock and let their boat down, so the lock will be ready once I've winded. Otherwise we'll be holding everybody up, so we'll see how that goes. It's too windy down the bottom, and King's Chandlery have got boats moored right opposite the junction. Might be that we'll have to go up King's Lock and then do the wind there on the wider stretch, but we'll see what it's like when we get the doors open and I can get out. having winded AmyJo at the junction there, we're now back in Waldle Lock again, and this time we're going to ascend the lock and make our way back across the Middlewich branch, possibly to rent Venetian Marina or Church Minstrel, we feel. But the old gates are just settling down as the lock is filling. I mentioned the plaque that they put in place for Maureen. Well, that's the plaque there. It's difficult to read in the small text, but what I'll do is you can pause it and zoom in if you want, or I will put the text in the description below for you, because it's an interesting story. Now we're in the infamous Stanthorpe Lock. Only this time we're going the other way, so we're not too worried about the bottom gates. They seem to be opening and closing okay at the moment, so fingers crossed. Look at this. The levels are starting to drop all round, I think. You just about make out the tractor in the field there. They've started harvesting. We think it's sweet corn, I'm not sure. It could be maize, but whatever it is, they've started to harvest. You can see the field is pretty clear there now. Yeah. Made it into Minshall Lock, so we're making good time today, but the weather is still being kind to us, although there are a lot of clouds bubbling up now. But there we go, it's Minshall Lock done and dusted. However, the wind is now really picking up and it's making it interesting helming the boat. Let's try again now, I've got my microphone on. So this is Chelmsford Lock, or Charmondersley Lock as it's spelt. This will be our last lock of the day and we're going to start looking for moorings now. Hopefully there's some just above the lock here, although it looks quite busy, so we'll just see. If not, we may go on to Calverley and stop there. If luck would have it, we've managed to blag ourselves a mooring spot just above Chelmsford Lock. Chris is obviously sunning herself in the sun and relaxing after doing the locks. And Smudge is making the most of the sun as well. Aren't you, boy? Yeah, having a bit of a sunbathe. So this is us until tomorrow. And then we do the ascent of the locks through Bunbury, etc. They go down the locks. Sorry, not up, down.
Well, that's it for this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, don't forget to like and give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe because it does help our channel, and press the bell icon for future notifications of our future vlogs. Don't forget to comment. We do love reading all the comments and Steve replies to all of them. I must admit I don't, but Steve definitely does. And thank you to all our patrons and also our channel members. That's it for this time.
Yeah. And we will see you next week on Life on Board AmyJo. Bye.